Hello and welcome everybody to the quarterfinals of the ACES competition. Today we got a match between the Venice Vipers and the Gungathal Sabres. I'm Beaver. Avatar, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Avatar. I'm co-commentating with Beaver on this glorious quarterfinals match today. We already have 3 of our 4 semi-finalists, and today we are deciding who is going to be the 4th.
Indeed. This is winner moves on, loser goes home.
Ripozo.
We'll have the draft here starting soon. Very excited. Should be a good match.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this match heavily. We got some heavy hitters from both sides, so this should be quite the interesting match. You can already see the first couple of bands coming in here. 2-4, 2-8, 3-1, and 4-2. What do you think about those?
Well, the 4-2 ban is notable because it's been a strong like middle ground pick of not too difficult, not too easy throughout the whole tournament.
Absolutely.
Sabres predictably banning 4-3 as well.
Yeah, because this is a matchup that has occurred before, and the Vipers made sure to pick 4-3 then to try to have the best possible odds. So the Sabres picking that now is it makes very much sense. And we see them picking 2-7 from the Sabres side. That's also kind of a run in the middle pack for slide 2 episode picks.
Yeah, definitely. The two episodes that I think can be played very reliably, especially when compared to some of the other episodes. 2-7 is one of the longer episodes, but I think in terms of gameplay, it shakes out to be about the same amount.
Yeah, it's like right in the middle there in the sense of there's some pretty like straightforward jobs, but there's also quite some technicality tied to it. We see the Vipers also picking 2-6, so we're going for double Canada today as well. This is shaking up very interesting. This is not how I imagined this draft would go.
Yeah, especially because we have a lot of Sly 4 favors in this match between Remo, in recent times has been sticking to Sly 4, and then Gandhi as well, same situation, and then Powerman historically has been a Sly 4 runner, but we're actually going to see no Sly 4 today.
Oh
The rest of
wow!
Sly 4
A blanket bomb on slide 4 is. This was not on my 2024 bingo sheet.
So the options come down to 2-3, or 3-2, or 3-6. So very interesting pick coming up here for the Sabres. I suppose Remo could play any of either of those two Slide 2 episodes. So we may see, I guess, maybe a Slide 3 pick for Ison, which seems to be what they do. 3-2.
Yeah, 3-2. So overall, pretty like average episode picks. Nothing too. I mean, outside of Sly 4 being completely blanket bombed, these were like right the middle of the pack kind of episodes that were picked. So they should be interesting. I wonder what order they're going to choose here.
Sly 3 will go off first, and then we'll do
Canada in chronological order.
In order, yeah.
Okay, this is interesting. Yeah, like you said, I would be expecting also Ison to be on 3-2 for the Sabres.
Yeah, I would expect that as well. And I suppose the Vipers have Canuti, so that one's an easy assignment, I would suppose.
Yeah, so then from the Viper side, I would imagine Powerman to be on 2-6 and Gandhi on 2-7. And an Alpine Remo, I think, could go either way. I think I'm kind of swaying more towards Remo in 2.6.
Yeah, I think you could go either way. I'm pretty sure they're both, you know, decent mashers if you want to consider that. Obviously it's tough to compete with Remo. I'm not sure.
I doubt it's gonna less
Alappa
come down
does.
to. I doubt it's less gonna come down to the mashing and more so to the two first fake floors, because they have proven to be a struggle
True.
in past, present, and future. So.
Good point. And it can be, you know, you can trick yourself into thinking like, oh, I can do it. It's not that hard. But when you're rusty or you haven't done it in a while, you never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, when you're rusty and under pressure, then anything can happen. They do say a little bit of nerves usually is good for performance, but you never want to overdo it on the nerves.
Now, before we get going, we do have some subs to catch up on. Nightfly, thank you for the tier 1 resub to the Sly Gold's Twitch channel for 2 months. And then Avatar Nader, tier 1 resub for 24 months. Incredible. 2 years.
Yo,
Big 2 years.
I hear that is a great guy.
Yeah, I've heard that as well. And then we got Nave, tier 1 resub for 33 months. That's a lot of months. So thank you everybody for supporting the Sly Gold's Twitch channel.
It really means a lot for both the staff and for the kebab fund and for everything.
Yeah, I mean we don't see any of that money, but but I know it probably goes to help run the Sly Gold's website. I know there's costs involved in all of that.
Absolutely. It seems we're
off to the races. We do have a bit of a technical difficulty with the timer, but I think we can manage.
Geen probleem, vriend. Ik wil hem graag ontmoeten. Iemand die jij meester noemt, dat is
So
niet
we got
zomaar een vent.
Knuti and Eisen. Knuti on the right, Eisen on the left to start off.
This was expected.
Geweldig.
Definitely.
Eisen is still a relatively new runner to community, and Knuti has several years under his belt. But Eisen does also show a lot of potential, so this is going to be a very interesting matchup.
Sorry, vriend. Deze grot is leeg. Waar zou die nog meer uit kunnen hangen?
Nou, dat is een hut. Maar daar is hij tegenwoordig nooit meer, vanwege de stank.
De stank?
So first job in this episode is search for the guru. Very fun job, in my opinion. It's one of the few examples in Sly 3 of just like a pure, like Sly platforming job. So I like it for that reason.
Yeah, same. It's also one of the few ones that's Sly platforming in the open world as well. Because there's quite a few that are confined to inner spaces. Gauntlet being the most infamous example.
Eisen there going for a circle boost, not getting it, but does recognize it quickly enough so he didn't fall down.
Sorry Murray, er is niemand thuis en zo te zien heeft de goeroe hier met iets of iemand gevochten. Ik begin te vermoeden dat de mijnwerkers hem te pakken hebben genomen.
Dat zou best kunnen. Dat zij binnenkwamen en kwaad werden en schreeuwden en hij heel kalm bleef en dat zij woedend werden. En dat hij dan een middenweg zocht en zij doordraaiden en alles aan puin sloegen en hem meesleepten.
Waar zouden ze hem heen gebracht kunnen hebben?
Ze hebben hem! Mijn meester is
I guess you know Dutch, don't you? That's crazy.
Yeah, I do. I basically understand everything that's being said.
Ze dat gebied met dat hoge hek erom gebruiken als provisorische gevangenis.
Zo te zien kan ik omhoog via die rot daaronder. Dat lijkt me geen probleem.
Hou wel die gyrocopter in de gaten.
To realize that Eisen is actually on the right because the names were backwards. So the two teams in this match did switch like within the last week in terms of their like orientation in today's match.
But it seems that the
Originally-
layouts weren't caught up to speed with the
Correct.
switch.
Yeah. Because in the bracket stage, the
Jij
knockout
bent vast de
stage,
goeroe. Ik ben een
we've
goede
had
vriend
it
van
so
Murray.
that
Hij vraagt permissie om te
the
stoppen met
team with
trainen.
the higher standing gets
Goed,
the
ik zal je
option of
bevrijden.
being
Dan gaan
either
we met hem
Team A or
praten.
Team B, with Team A being the one that ends up
Wil
on
je
the
echt niet
left
weg
in
zonder je
our view.
spulletjes?
And originally, the Sabres
Ja,
were going to
Ik
be
zie dat de
Team A,
mijnwerkers het land hier goed te
but
grazen hebben genomen.
that was flipped.
Wat de maansteen en de wandelstok betreft, mijn bende en ik zijn heel goed in het terugstelen van onterecht afgenomen spullen.
Alright, both teams making it out of Search for the Guru relatively unscathed. I do believe Eisen had one fall down towards the end there. And this is where the route can differ between some runners. You can do spelunking into Big Truck, into Dark Caves, and then proceed with freeing the Guru. Or you can do Dark Caves first and then delay spelunking and Big Truck till afterwards. So we might see a split up in a route here, depending on if the runners do different routes.
Definitely looking forward to Big Truck.
Truckin'.
Definitely could be a notable point in this race in general.
I wonder how many flips we're gonna get.
Because it is one of the only points out of these 3 episodes that we have where there's a fair bit taken out of the runner's hands. There's a lot of skill and knowledge and experience that comes out in Big Truck, but there's only so much you can do with the hand you're dealt. So
Absolutely, it's a very skill testing level in one aspect, but also very tied to RNG with the Scorpion's bombs. You can manipulate it to some extent, but there's still a part of it that's outside of your control. The trick being running over as many Scorpions as possible at first, and then waiting for the red ones to spawn in.
zelfbeheersing en vocht met Octavio.
Okay, it does look like both runners are doing spelunking first, so there will be no route detouring here today. Ooh, Eisen just being barely shorted out on the first jump, but he got it the second time. That's a rather tricky Ricky rule in terms of the timing.
yeah, that one I always struggled with that one a lot. I did see that Canuti began that jump with Berserker Charge instead of a jump, which may make it easier. It at least looked like it from Canuti, but I think there'd probably be a lot of things that Canuti would make look easier than they are. Anyways. But here we get to, spelunking is rather unique in the way that it relies on Murray movement in a way that we really don't have anywhere in this series.
It is, it's like a needle in a haystack, with like the only time where we actually see true Murray platforming. I honestly wish there were more jobs like this.
Om er door te komen, moeten we overdruk creëren in deze zuiger. Wil je dat ik erop map? Dat kan ik wel. Gebruik je
Icing getting blocked by the spider web, so unfortunate, a little too far left with his initial toss.
Yeah, that cobweb has always been interesting. You can also just run forward slightly, so you run into the cobweb to make it disappear before you throw the guard. Or you can do what Canuti did, which is carefully punch the guard closest to the cliff into the first rock and break it that way and save the throw. It is rather precise though.
Empty coming up on the final puzzle.
Deze te openen moet je alle
See if
drie
he,
code.
tegelijk
yeah,
overbelasten.
if he can properly get all 3 of these pistons down. It's interesting how this last set of pistons works, because I think the casual inclination would be to jump onto them from above and end up with the pink glowy protective layer around Murray.
Mm-hmm.
And when you speedrun, you learn that doing so is very, very bad. It makes that section very, very, very slow. Like not even just for speedrunner standards.
Moet je die vent zien? Hij is vastgegroeid door dat masker van donkere aarde waar de
It's one of those
voor
interesting
waarschuwde.
points where I think that
Het maakt de drager dus veel groter.
for casuals the game may seem
Ik kan hem wel aan.
a
Mijn
lot
ontmoeting met
worse
de
than
goeroe
it
wordt niet
does to us,
gedwarsboomd
just from
door een gek met een masker.
like the quirky mechanic.
Zelfs als je zou winnen, kon je nergens
It really highlights the nuances that this game has in the speedrun sense. There's so many small things that you just never think about when you do it casually, and then you do it in the speedrun, and it just makes you appreciate these small things just a little bit more.
Er is al wat schade. Eén voor kapot. Nog 2 te gaan.
Angie throwing this clown into the drill repeatedly.
Mijn hemel. Dat
Multiple
masker kan
drills, in
rennen.
fact.
Dat kan het mijne niet.
This is another one of those instances though where the subtle nuance comes in because of the fact you can juggle the guard before he has a chance to retaliate.
Ga open.
Yeah, there's a bit of a narrow window in between the earliest moment that the
Ik ben
kangaroo
terug,
can
mijn
interact
meester.
with again,
Het zwarte
but
water is
before
weer
their
helder.
like
Ik
reflex
wil
attack
graag. Ik verzoek u.
triggers in,
Oh
and
man.
you take damage.
Ja.
Not
Ik
crazy
wil weer
precise
mee met mijn
timing, but
vrienden. En we hadden
definitely a bit of
gehoopt
a
dat u
timing
ook mee
game.
zou komen. U zou het geweldig vinden. We hebben zoveel lol. Mijnwerkers, gyrocopters en het masker van donkere aarde. Ja, dat is niet niks, maar wij helpen u, dat beloof ik. Bedankt, goeroe. Ik ben ook blij u te zien.
Alright, we mentioned this jump before, but now we're heading into it. Big truck.
Very exciting.
Very exciting.
Definitely one of the
laten we naar
most
AES rijden en die
hated
mijnbingo's
jobs I would say
wegmaken.
in Sly
Je
Cooper,
goeroe
but
wil dat
also
het hier gezuiverd wordt.
I assume loved by some casuals, and I think ironically loved by
Met dit schatje kan ik huizen
a lot of us
batterijen.
speedrunners. I guess I don't actually know what the casuals think of this job.
It's casuals,
But-
they enjoy everything.
But
I
it's
remember
got a
seeing-
big truck, so
Yeah, I remember seeing a tier list one time of the best jobs in Sly 3, and I think the top one was Cooper Hangar Defense.
Oh ja!
Ja.
This goes to show how polarizing it can be sometimes between the casual and speedrun community.
Ik heb een plan om de mijnwerkers uit Eershoek te verdrijven. Daarvoor moeten we deze boy hier wel dieper in de grond zien te krijgen.
Oké, Bentley, ik ben
so
geïnteresseerd.
it'll be interesting
Maar
to
ik denk dat
see
ik wel met een paar wachters af moet rekenen
won't
om bij
know
de
until
voorbediening te
later.
kunnen komen.
in this episode how the runners have
Dan
chosen
kan Murray
to
beginnen met fase 2 van mijn plan.
order themselves within their teams, but that'll be interesting to see for both teams. Because in these remaining episodes, we really could go any way.
Goed werk, Sly.
Absolutely.
De sonische
I am
trillingen
still
van de
predicting
motor drijven
Power
de
Man for
reuzenschorpioenen
2-6
in het gebied naar de
from the
oppervlakte.
Viper side,
Als we een
and
stel
again
grote
for 2-7.
soldatenschorpioenen kunnen
Yeah, I
vangen,
agree with you.
kunnen we daar vast de mijnwerkers
sure.
wel mee wegjagen. Dat klinkt als een klus voor de Murray. Eén vraagje nog. Hoe vang ik schorpioenen met een druk?
Het voertuig is uitgerust met een supersterke handrem. En als je die aantrekt tijdens het rijden, kantel je naar voren. Met de juiste timing vang
I
je
know
de
that
schorpioen in de
Gandhi
wijnetten aan de onderkant van de truck.
did
Oké,
not
Bentley.
fully
Laat de
prepare for today's
schorpioenen maar
match,
komen.
so
Niet zo snel. De banden
sure
van de truck worden
they're
snel
taking
heet in het brandende
advantage
zand.
of
Je
the
moet ze
time they
afkoelen
have
door
while
in het
we're in
water
July 3
of over schorpioenen
to
te
prepare.
rijden. Let
That
op
is
je
fair. They were the
warmtemeter
ones to
om te
pick the
voorkomen
order
dat de
after
banden
all.
smelten. En denk eraan, we willen alleen de rode soldatenschorpioenen. Met de blauwe werkschorpioenen kunnen we de mijnwerkers niet wegjagen.
And we have
We sturen
another
gewoon trucken
subscription.
Want de
Stevens, thank you for the tier 1
ingedrukt
resub
om
for
vooruit
5
te gaan.
months.
En de weg. Zo te zien komen er meer naar de oppervlakte.
Daar gaan we.
Sluggies.com appreciates you.
Aan de rol.
The new team beginning the truck portion.
If the Scorpion... Oh, double?
Hup.
Ah, almost.
Aha.
Dat zijn al 5 gooien. Ga zo door.
Daar gaan we. Oh man.
That one slipped up. Very unfortunate.
And we have a battery warning.
Controller battery
We moeten dieper boren om de schorpioenen
That
naar
is very
buiten te
common to see
krijgen.
this job because how much the controller shakes when you drive the car. the truck.
Yeah.
Oké, Bentley, ik ga al.
Not the best tower cycle for Knut there. You kind of have to be very fast in the first scoring phase in order to try to catch a very quick tower cycle, which Knut obviously missed by barely missing out on the last Scorpion.
Je kunt je banden van nu af aan alleen nog maar afkoelen door schorpioenen te verpletteren.
And now this is where the Scorpion manipulation is going to come into play. Knuti is going to very likely run over a metric fuck ton of Scorpions, trying to spawn in as many red ones as possible. He's probably going to try to run over a couple of red ones initially, except for to like right in the way like that, where he can just catch one quickly. But in awkward spots, I wouldn't be surprised if he's just going to run over one or two.
Whoa.
Just to try and despawn as many blue ones as possible and spawning in red ones.
Handstand.
Something
That was
sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Something I've always thought is interesting about this job is that they actually did
Het gaat
choose
goed.
to
Je kunt niet ontsnappen aan de Murray.
make the whole level
Ja.
Laat die blauwe maar lopen. Die
big.
zijn alleen goed
And
om
what
je
I mean
banden
by that
af te
is that everything is actually scaled the way it is canonically.
Oh, Ice fell down from the tower.
And you can tell because of the coins, like how big the truck and the Scorpions are compared to the coins. But they could have very easily just made everything equal sized, and you wouldn't be able to tell. Now there is a guard at the end of the job, but I mean, I assume it would be easier to just make the guard small than everything else huge.
Aan de rol.
Yeah, it is funny if you go out of bounds in this job, just run around and you just see how huge the Scorpions here are. I do agree with you on that the scaling is kind of ridiculous.
But I suppose they did already, like, the truck is visible in the hub, so they were making that.
Die truck vol schorpioenen nu achteruit naar de ingang van de mijn.
So it's probably just better to use the same truck than.
Nee, nee.
Yeah, probably better to scale everything after the truck
Rennen, jongens.
in that sense. 07 guard.
Goed teamwork, jongens. En je schok is schoongeveegd. De goeroe zal blij zijn.
I remember back when I used to play this game casually still on the trilogy disc, sometimes that guard just wouldn't die. He would just stay
Really?
alive. For the same reason that like in episode 5 you have the Penelope softlock, right? In Dynamic Duo, that is also very common to happen on the disc version if you don't reset the game beforehand. Which you always do in the speedrun anyway, so you would never really have too big an issue there. But it's funny that it's a thing.
Interesting.
Nadat ze de goeroe hadden gevangen, pakten de dingo's zijn magische wandelstok en maansteen af. Zonder
Community
die
entering
dingen is de
dark
goeroe
caves.
machteloos.
Aangezien het mijnwerkers zijn, hebben ze die spullen vast in een van deze grotten verstopt.
As
Dat is een
Ice
veilige
gets a
locatie, want er lopen heel wat
crazy
kerels
push
rond
off
om
the
ze in de
ground for
gaten
the
te houden.
truck.
Nice little backflip
De
right
meest
there.
waarschijnlijke kandidaat is deze mijnschacht. Daar lopen zo te zien de meeste arbeiders in en uit.
Goede plek om te beginnen. Ik ga al.
It doesn't look like Ison has been red scorpion spawning as well as Community did, because there are absolutely no reds to be seen except for right here in the end now.
Als ze hier zijn, liggen de spullen van de goeroe
So
vast
community
achter in deze
developing
grot.
a bit of an early lead, which is, you know, no surprise there. It's kind of not realistic for 99% of people
Ik hou er niet
to
van
try to keep up with
omgeving
community in
overal
Slide
graven.
3, but
Maar deze grotten
Ison,
zitten vol met
Ison's
opbouw.
doing a
Ik
great
snap wel
job.
waarom die
You know,
mijnwerkers
Yeah.
zo fanatiek zijn.
A lot of time left.
Ison is
Nice
doing
development.
a pretty good job of keeping the lead for Community as minimal as possible.
Exactly, and that's really what it comes down to, because
Tijd om je terug te brengen
these
naar je eigenaar.
matches always shake
De
out in a way
mijnwerkers zijn
where
slimmer dan ze eruit zien. De
different
maansteen is
teams will
geboobytrapped.
have
Het lijkt me een lichtgevoelige
heavy
ontsteking.
pushes
Als ik
in
hem
each
buiten in de
of
zon kan krijgen, moet hij uitgaan.
each of the 3 episodes.
Absolutely, it's just trying to pull together as big of an advantage as you can with the opponents you're facing and the episodes that are given. Speaking of
You
that,
have confirmation.
yeah, I
of
was about to say
next.
we have confirmation of the ones who are up next. And I think I predicted this, Powerman and Remo for 2-6. Which means it will be Gandhi and Alapo for 2-7.
De wandelstok van de goeroe ligt vast in een andere gangencomplex. Ik heb de ingang gemarkeerd in je contactkijker.
Dark Caves is another one of those slide platforming jobs that we discussed were rare, and they really are rare. Even though we get 2 of them here in quick succession. I actually think that's one of the biggest strengths of episode 2 of Slide 3. I was very surprised to realize when I was learning Slide 3 and then running Slide 3 that
Wat
like,
zou er zo bijzonder
I
zijn aan
actually
deze staf?
like this episode.
Weer
This
een
might be
booby
my
trap.
favorite
Voor een
episode.
stok? Die
And I
lijkt
never would have
paranoïde.
expected
We love
that.
to hear it.
Versterking ingeroepen.
We love to hear it,
Er
ladies
gaat
and
niets boven
gentlemen.
een horde boze dingo's om het allemaal wat
And I never would
spannender
have
te maken.
expected that from Slide 3 episode 2, which it's kind of an odd episode.
Yeah, I know a lot of people don't like this episode, whether it be casually or in the speedrun, but I very much agree with you. I love the speedrun of episode 2. Because there's such a good variance of jobs. It's slide platforming, it's a couple of mini games, Lemon Rage with the brawling. The Guru missions are a blast as well. Like, it's such a good mix of everything.
I should go on a safer route on the spire points there.
That is very valid. Just doing the double jump down is kind of precise. So taking it nice and safe is respectful.
Getting some adrenaline burst movement on Kaneji's side.
That is the one thing this job kind of lacks, which is Bentley gameplay. Because you just move to this episode trigger, and you kill like a couple of guards in Lemon Rage, and that's it.
Gegroet, o goeroe van de steen. Murray heeft Eierschok gezuiverd. En ik breng u nederige
He makes up for it in
wandelstok
episode
en
3 though, where
maansteen.
the entirety
tijd
of
voor de
day 2 is
ontsnapping
dedicated
is
to the Bentley
gekomen.
jobs.
Oeh, dank u, dat is heel vriendelijk. Maar zeg eens, hoe wilt u ontsnappen?
Yeah, I think Sucker Punch is
Echt waar?
Sucker Punch was careful in all
Maar
the
als u van
games to
gedaante
have,
verandert, komt er vast een wachter polshoog te
you know,
nemen.
to draw attention to and have you play as each of the
Dat is
different
waar.
characters.
Wacht,
I think
dan komt een wachter.
it becomes kind of difficult to manage with a larger gang like we have in Sly 3, but at least with the main trio, they did a great job of that.
I agree. To draw a comparison to Sly 2, I almost want to say they tipped the skills more in Sly's favor compared to Bentley and Murray. And I think that's kind of why in Sly 3 they tip it more evenly across all three.
Inderdaad, die borenvernietigheid heeft
Because we've kind of gotten our main games with Sly movement, so of course it would make sense to still have Sly played in the third game. But because there already was some attention laid to Murray and Bentley in the second, they get a bit more attention comparatively. And then instead just give Sly the higher quality jobs, so to speak, with Gauntlet and Dark Caves, to name a few.
Yeah, definitely. Community seems like he's gotten pretty much all the guard spawns he wants. This guy's got to go up top to jump over him, but pretty quick nonetheless.
Very flawless. That could have been way more awkward if the cards stood still for longer.
Bentley heeft nog een plan om de mijnwerkers te pakken. Ga naar die rots daar ginds.
And perfectly spawned guard right on top of the way to the next job trigger.
Die slijpmachine maakt Wave Rock kapot. Ik weet het. Het is vreselijk. Maar de generator is zwak. Gemakkelijk te slopen.
And you know, we're always getting new people in here, so I'm sure it's, you know, it's valuable to talk again about guard spawn manipulation. Avatar, if you want to just briefly touch on that.
Yeah, so the way how guards spawn in this game and in Sly 2 is they spawn in the direction of the camera. So by keeping your camera in specific directions, you can make sure to either force spawn a guard in one direction or to just keep guards from spawning at all in other directions. But another thing about Sly 3 compared to Sly 2 is guards also like to spawn behind buildings and structures. So if you point your camera in a specific way as you're running towards a building, you can kind of try to spawn a guard behind it. Which is almost kind of what happened when Knute ran towards Wave Rock after being done with the first couple of drills. Because you saw that one dingo guard barely spawned in on that platform as he was running towards there.
Yeah, that is true in Sly 2 as well. I know that at minimum the mechanics they favor spawning guards on the edges of the screen and around corners. I know that with the map layout differences in Sly 2 and 3 are not, you know, I don't want to act like, you know, the map design is like completely different, but I think it's different enough in a way that guard spawns at least feel different, maybe slightly, when running around. Because I've always thought that GSMing in Sly 3 just feels like a little different, and I don't think it's the actual GSM, I think it's just the, you know, how the buildings, you know, quote-unquote randomly ended up in the game.
Yeah, I can definitely see your point there.
Het is voedertijd.
But at the same time, in Sly 3, that was an interesting card. But in Sly 3 also, sometimes I feel like you could just see a guard spawn like literally out of thin air in front of you if you're just barely on the edge of a corner. And it might have something to do with how you set it, like how the geometry of the buildings and the corners in this game differ compared to Slide 2.
Bij
Ja.
die mafkees in tweeën. Lekker kallen op die mijnwerken. Eten is klaar.
Yeah, and I know the reason for why that's in the game is just because
Lekkere mijnwerkers. Zouden ze
the
echt
game
lekker
couldn't handle the, you know, having guards everywhere all the time, just from a memory perspective, and it would, you know, kind of be a waste anyways, especially in this era of video games, kind of just a waste of.
That was a very good
Power.
backup for Community to use that rock there because he got spotted early.
So Slide 2 and 3 constantly like load and deload like entities based on the camera angle. We don't have clue bottles in this game, but that's another example of a thing that does that.
The one on top of the tower in 2.5.
But the end result, or at least the intention from Sucker Punch, is that
Sinds wanneer kunnen maskers ontsnappen?
you take a pool of like 5 guards that are all the same guard, but you just constantly despawn them and then respawn them like around a corner in the direction you're running, and it's meant to make it feel like the entire map is populated by guards everywhere.
Yeah, it is very interesting how they did it like that. I've always wondered, because Slide 4 definitely doesn't feel like it does that, because when you open up the
Klaar
map
om naar de
there,
olievelden te gaan?
you see all the
Die zijn
red
aan de andere
circles.
kant van deze grot.
So it feels
Oh,
there,
ja.
at least, that guards
Bentley had het over
are
zware
actually
machines en
literally everywhere all the
verwoesting, dus
time.
ik ben erbij.
Dat
But I've
lijkt
never
me iets voor
considered
jou.
how it handles
Ja, nou,
respawning.
precies.
We gaan radioactieve olie zoeken, hè?
Like
Ik
after you
weet
kill
niet.
one.
Ik kan mijn aandacht door
Yeah, I
deze
think in
presentaties
Slide
houden.
4 we don't
Niet tegen
entirely
Bentley zeggen.
know
Ik zou niet durven.
how guards work. I think that they have like certain spots that the game like randomly picks from, maybe, to spawn guards. But you're right, they didn't need the illusion on the PS3, so they just have the guards everywhere instead of faking it.
Probably an advantage of the PS3 hardware over PS2.
Af te rekenen met eventuele mijnwerkers. Gebruik de linker analoge joystick om de cloud te bewegen. Met de X-toets kun je voorwerpen pakken en loslaten. Pak die steen en gooi hem in het gat.
Speaking of
Voordat iemand
guards,
ziet
do you
dat
have
je
any
er bent.
favorite guards in any of the games?
Makkelijk. Je bent er wel goed in.
I'm
De
a big
andere
fan
belangrijke
of the
functie
Moose
van het
guards in
model
Slide 2.
10.000 is de werpactie.
Based.
I also really like the Mammoth guards in Slide 4.
Om ermee te gooien. Je kunt dingen een
I
heel
think
eind weggooien.
both of those guards
Raak
are
dat elektronisch hek maar eens
funny
met zo'n steen.
for different reasons, as well as like
Ik
being
denk dat ik het wel door heb.
like
Goed zo.
cool animals.
Dat wil ik nog een keer zien. Geef toe, Bentley. Ik heb talent. Ik hoop het. Want zo te zien hebben de mijnwerkers het op ons gemunt.
Yeah, I want to say I am rather partial to the
Dit elektrische hek lijkt me erg handig voor het opruimen van wachters. Daar komen ze.
lost my train of thought there for a second. But no, I'm actually kind of partial to the crocodile crab creatures of Dr. M. I just always found them very interesting
Really
for some reason.
interesting. Yeah, that is a choice I haven't heard before.
Because it's such a weird combination of animals to mutate together, you know.
Eén brons
Yeah.
Ronsdal, nog twee
And then I also
graden.
like the porcupines in 4. I think it's just funny how when they dodge it, they just roll around on the ground like hedgehogs usually do.
Yeah, I like the porcupines as well. There's
Voor je worp.
some funny guards in Sly Cooper. I think
Dat is twee. Nu nog
I
één.
think all 4 of the games do a good job at trying to like
Ja,
bring out character from even the background.
Yeah.
Background characters.
And also making sure that the guards, that the animals that the guards represent are also accurate to the place. Right, so like you mentioned, the mammoth in 4-3. Because we're in the Ice Age, it makes sense that there's a mammoth guard somewhere.
Naar de volgende groep. Schiet op, Sly. Grijp Murray en ga er vandoor voor de mijnwerkers.
And we got another resub, Yamada. Thank you for the tier 1 resub for 4 months.
Just gonna unfollow but click the wrong button. Well, that's a good misclick right there.
Now, Community is in the claw. Definitely one of the, no need to sugarcoat it. One of the least interesting jobs in the entire series.
But also one of the most intricate, because auto-scroller and you can't lose time at the parts where it is the no-scroller. So you do wanna optimize it from a runner's perspective.
Definitely. As I so interested as well. One thing I think that a lot of speedrun viewers don't consider, and also a lot of runners as well, is that in terms of time save, there's no difference between a job like the Claw and Gauntlet. Time is time. So not optimizing the Claw because it's boring and it sucks. It's just
Mooi weg, jongens. Alle oliebronnen
shoot
actief zijn.
yourself in the
Gaan we
foot.
Yeah, depending on how it goes in a run setting, you can very easily lose 5 seconds to Gauntlet, but you can also lose 5 seconds to Claw.
De brand in de olie. Sly, gooi een vuursteentje aan het einde
There's
van
a
die
lot
lange
that's
plank.
going on in those
Murray,
small details that a lot of people overlook. We mentioned this earlier in Spelunking with the nuances of this game between casual and speedrun. But even in the speedrun, there's nuances between keeping it optimal and just fucking the ball.
Oh ja, daar gaan we.
So Kanuti made use of the pit, dropped Murray into it, got a failed abuse, warped us to this last section a little faster than he could drive the Claw over here.
Yeah, otherwise it would be a 5 to 10 second ride over the water, I think. Actually, is it water or is it just oil? That's water, right? Yeah.
It's water in that spot.
Because it could almost give off the shine that would be oil, Like not black oil, but oil spill.
Yeah.
And now Community on his way to arguably one of the best jobs in the entire game.
Definitely featuring one of the best songs in the game.
Heavy agree.
Oké, jongens, kijk stoer en maak je kwaad. We gaan de bevolking intimideren.
Ik weet niet of ik dat wel kan. Hoe maken jullie je kwaad?
Zoek de lucifer in je ziel. Steek die aan en laat het vuur
Now
je
Ison is
ingewanden
coming up
verbranden en
on
je
the
bloed
last stretch of the
koken.
first part
Ja,
of
zo doe ik
the
het ook
claw.
ongeveer. Luister, ons
And
doel
just
is
like
die
how
mijnwerkers
Knutty
wegjagen.
just
Doe
before
alles wat
dropped
daarvoor nodig is.
Murray into the pit. Never mind, I spoke too soon. I was gonna say, because you can drop a rock on Murray's head there in the first phase to phase over here a bit faster. But it
Yeah,
turns out
I think both of those fail abuse techniques are, I mean, I don't want to say new, but like relatively new.
Luister
Like I
eens,
think they're
tuig.
both found
Tijd om
while
weg te
I've been
wezen.
in the
Vanaf nu
community.
is de Cooperbende hier de baas.
Stoere praat, jochie.
I think
The I
jou.
want to say the
Used to-
fail. I want to say the fail abuse was already there by the time I joined around 2019. I actually don't remember.
What I mean is
niet
the
of dit wel zo'n
specific
goed idee is.
Als
method
je
of
ons
it,
uit wilt
'cause I
dagen
think
voor een potje limonade
I think
drinken,
you used
dan
to
zullen
drop
wij
Murray
drieën
in the
het
water.
opnemen tegen jullie beste 3 limonadedrinkers.
Yeah, you used to drop her in the water.
En de
Yeah.
verliezer vertrekt.
And then it was in a pit later. But the rock strat on the first phase, that one was found later compared to just dropping her in
Op
the
de
water
plaatsen.
or in the
Klaar.
pit
Af.
in the second phase.
Oh ja. Doordrinken, man.
The longer time goes on, the more I realize I actually start to remember stuff way less. Actually.
Denken.
It's kind of fun.
Het gaat goed.
Dat is pas echt drinken.
Lijkt me pruts, hè.
Advendum.
Niet vertragen.
Tibelin, drakken.
Bulge, yeah. It's
Yeah,
called
yeah.
growing up, I suppose.
Community cheating his
Sneller,
way
sneller.
through this lemonade drinking competition. He spilled a lot.
Wij winnen!
Imagine spilling lemonade as an
Hij speelt
age.
vals. Die schildpad heeft meer gemorst dan opgedronken. En weet je wat we hier doen met
And now we have to tear the whole bar down to settle
Wij
this
zullen die
dispute.
valspelers eens een lesje leren.
The Bentley phase here is so funny because you just knock the 3 dingoes into the fence, kill them instantly, and then trigger bomb that one kangaroo,
Helemaal
and
vriend.
bang, you're done as Bentley.
This section works by instead of being like time-based for each character or anything like that, it's reliant on how many kills or assists the player character has accumulated before it moves on to the next one. So any character that Canuti hits as Sly,
Blijven maar komen.
who then
Gaat het nog,
dies
Harry?
either from Sly or from somebody else, contribute to a counter and then moves on to Murray number.
It's also why
Rubber number.
Mooi werk.
It's also why Knut had to first hit the kangaroo before dropping the trigger bomb, so that it would register that Bentley has attacked the guard and then the kill on the guard satisfies Bentley's contribution.
Pak ze aan,
And then
makker.
it's like,
And then here in the Murray section, just you know, it's easy to kill the guards quickly as Murray, but he's also got to manage his health and then also pay attention to how many guards he's hit, how many guards he's killed, because he's got to do a cutscene skip here, which is why he's going to get low health on purpose. And he'll try to take a guard at the end without killing him.
that was a pretty smooth killing the last 3 guards there. Let's see if he gets to skip.
Bit of a scuff
That was
setup
lucky.
from my eye, but it worked. So can't argue with that.
I've had similar sketchy looking setups before, but I don't know, for some reason I could always tell that those sketchy setups would work, but this one I did not have the faith in. So I'm lucky to see that
Yeah.
it did in fact pay off.
So what, you know, moving into some really, you know, nuanced Sly movement there. He's facing away from the wall, right? He's trying to like back his way into the drill so that the guard dies to the flame that's right next to the drill, while Murray dies to the drill. I think what happened to Canuti there is that he moved his left stick too far in his backwards jumping movement. And so
Yeah.
he ended up just doing like a full forward jump, which Murray turned around. So it could have been really disastrous, but it worked out. And he's
Eindelijk.
smooth
Die vent
sailing
was
out of
het masker.
Lemon
Het
Rage
ontsnapt.
We
as
hebben
Ice
deze bar
enters
zo
the game.
leeggeveegd, maar dat masker blijft problemen veroorzaken.
That was
We
strange.
moeten het
Canuti did that in
vernietigen.
6 phases, but he broke the... No, never mind. He did nail every push attack. I was a little bit confused for a second. The way how that fight works is if you don't do any push attacks regularly, you have to do 8 phases of knocking the guard out before you can hit him. But if you do a push attack, you can, for some reason, squeeze it just a tiny bit more damage, so you can do it in 6 cycles instead. But then you have to hit all 6 push attacks in order to do that. And Kunita did in fact nail all 6 of them.
So there with Ison, we got proof, I guess, of the mechanics of the section where it just ended inexplicably, but it was because of a guard that he had hit who ended up just dying to either Murray or Sly. He needed credit for that.
Fijn dat je het wilt doen.
He's also using knockout dive to be able to stealth slam these guards quicker as Sly. And there was also an instance there where you saw he knockout dived onto a kangaroo, but instead of being knocked down, it got up immediately. It's one of those things that's just very awkward or unpredictable about the section at times. Alright, Knuti on his way to possessing some guards to destroy this chopper.
Another GSM section. Because of the Guru being completely reliant on guards in his gameplay sections, they kind of become just a GSM, just a matter of GSMing.
Yeah. It's about knowing
which sections.
It's about knowing where the guards can spawn, about what way to hold the camera to make a specific guard spawn. Because you saw in the start there, he paused for a second and turned his camera up, and then waiting a second and then turning his camera back down to spawn that very first kangaroo on top of that platform. It's a very nice and consistent way to start off that Guru section. The only thing that's inconsistent is which way the guard is facing, if he's walking forward or if he's stationary.
In Slide 2, almost all of the guard spawn manipulation that we do is attempting to avoid guards from spawning in certain locations that are like in your path or in somebody else's path.
Cooper, ik dacht al dat je hier zou
and less about like where the actual guards end up spawning instead.
Het is niet aardig
So they're
om een
like
meisje uit te
preventive
lachen.
and defensive GSMs rather than. In this game, you have a lot of like aggressive GSMs where you want a guard to spawn in a specific spot for a particular reason.
Yeah. You see this more often in full game.
Be it looting them or in the case of the Guru, you know, possessing them and forcing them to run into something at high speed.
Eindelijk! De pijlen beginnen te werken, of niet? De chemicaliën in mijn pijlen reageren.
Yeah, Knuti actually had a pretty clean snipe as well on Karm on the left side there. It's I think it's a 50-50 chance for Sly to run either to the left or to the right. When Bentley opens his Monocicom there. The ideal scenario is Sly runs left, no right. Because as Karm is turning around the one building, you have a much more straight line where it's much easier to preemptively aim at Karm. Whereas if Sly runs to the left, there's a lot more straightaways. There's a lot more sideways straightaways, so it's easier to miss.
Ik zet stroom op de Supercloud 10.000. Hou daarmee de explosieven weg van
Ice and wrapping up Lemon Rage as well. Skinity throws dynamite at Carmelita. Giant Carmelita, yes I should say.
I think the technical term is Karma Larger.
Yeah, Carmelita. I'm sorry. You're right. And I guess what I said about scale, we do revisit this area. I believe this. I mean, I believe this is the same arena as Big Truck.
It is.
So I suppose that makes it make more sense as to why the scale is all proper.
Dit is slecht. We hebben
Yeah,
een
because
plan
they had to
nodig.
reuse it
En
once
snel.
where all the
Kracht
characters
alleen
in
is
proper
niet
scale
genoeg.
were.
Tijd om te stoppen met rennen en het
present.
probleem aan te pakken. Pak dat masker van donkere aarde.
Yeah, Knuti
dan
is
is
now
hij weer de
approaching the
Carmelita
end of
van
his
wie we
run.
allemaal houden.
All he has to do is climb up Karm and free a mask.
Oké, doet er niet toe. We moeten dat
And then
masker
we shall be
afpakken.
swiftly
We
moving
moeten
over to
daarboven
Power
zien
Man
te
for
komen.
2-6.
Jij bent de klimmer. En je wilde volgens mij altijd al dicht bij haar zijn. Dichterbij dan in haar veters klimmen kan bijna niet.
Dat is niet zo'n gek idee.
Oh, jawel. Hartstikke gek.
Heb jij een beter idee dan?
Ja, maar dan hebben we een reuzenrobot nodig.
Sorry, dan wordt het toch het plan met de veters.
Unfortunately, we don't have a giant fighting robot. Beniti's gonna have to
Pas op! Carmelita's
climb
troepen
up the
zijn onderweg.
bootlaces.
I wonder what kind of plan Murray had in mind that requires a giant fighting
Masker
robot.
aan elke kant maar met één haak vast. Als je eraan gaat hangen, slaat ze je misschien weg. En snel
Like I could
zit
imagine some gorilla versus Kong type shit.
Yeah.
Goed werk, Sly. Nog één haak. En dan is het masker eraf.
Ison having a little bit of trouble spawning in these guards.
And Canuti finishing. This episode has a pretty unique ending point. So I completely forgot, honestly, until he was already done that he was about to end. Because we don't end with a boss fight as we usually do.
Yeah, we end with a platforming section. To be fair though, the same thing is true for 2.4 and 2.7. Because we also don't end those with a boss fight, but with a small running section.
Right, yeah.
Ransacking his files doesn't sound hard. Now, climbing up a sheer rock wall, that'll be a challenge.
You're in luck. Before Jean Bassan took over, this used to be a popular destination for rock climbers. Some of their old wall hooks are still around.
I'm guessing I just jump and hit the
Barman
circle
playing in
button to latch on.
English, and I think he is also
Remember
on.
to lean back before you
I
spring
think
off
he's
the
on
hook.
PAL.
You'll get more
So
altitude.
Remo is gonna have some inherent
Give it a
time
try.
save in version likely, because I would be surprised if Remo plays in anything but Korean.
Yeah, agreed.
Hot Sly, that's Jean Bisson.
Looks like he didn't notice me come in.
Just stay out of sight and take a picture of each of his train routes. They should narrow our search for his share of the clockwork parts.
All right, I'm on it.
More Karm on screen.
Salutations, Mr. Arpeggio. Y'all got time to shoot the breeze?
Of course, for you, chap, always. Although must be communicated through that dreadful speakerphone.
Yeah, I can think better while my legs
So we get to
move.
listen to some English dialogue.
Brain.
Yeah, that is a rarity in Sly speedrunning these days. I forget, 4.4 and 4.5 are still run in English, right? Or have we also switched to another language for those now?
Get that Northern Lights battery.
Yeah, 4.4 and 4.5, but skip most of the cutscenes, so it's not quite the same as would be in Sly 2.
That is true.
I know that not everybody shares this opinion, but I'm very thankful that we have different languages in the games, because I think that the dialogue in speedruns gets ruined for you. and for the Sly games, thankfully I get to have it not ruined, you know.
Yeah, it is. What's the word I'm looking for? It is very nice that the language is varied between all the different games, yeah, because it just it highlights the. I am at a complete loss for words. Sorry. It just highlights the many good qualities that these games have.
Yeah. Well, and you get to be exposed to, you know, different languages. The
Yeah.
fact that I have an uncountable amount of hours in a game that I play in Korean is, you know, kind of a weird thing to think about. In that way.
Shouldn't take long.
But, you know, it's good. It's good for you to, you know, listen to other languages, even if they're nonsense,
It is a good way to.
or even if they sound like nonsense.
Yeah, it would sound like nonsense at first, but after you hear it like 200 times, it starts to become a bit more common, I guess. Like we skipped the cutscene now, but Bear Cub kidnapping in the Binoculum cutscene, Bentley's final voice line, you know, the iconic eh. Like you look forward to it. You look forward to hearing voice lines like that.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Are there other? Does he say that at other points?
I think he says it a couple times in the Disguised Bridge cutscene.
Okay.
It's just not as evident, or it's not spoken in the same intonation.
Yeah.
It's like eh instead of eh.
Well, and on Korean, the Sucker Punch sound effect that plays with the Sony Computer Entertainment Presents screen does not play. It's completely silent. So it's actually extremely infrequent that I hear that. So that is another nostalgic thing that
Yeah,
comes
that is
out
very
from watching
interesting.
Power Man.
Yeah, it looks like Power Man's taking it safe and not doing the Spice of the Sky cutscene skip.
Yeah, anytime you're dealing with fake floor, there's a lot of risk. The worst case scenario with fake floor is always really bad. Usually the second or third worst case scenario is really bad. So
yeah.
you know, can't blame them.
How am I supposed to get up there to collect the spice gas?
It's almost a fuck it we ball moment where you're just gunning for it to work, because if it doesn't work, then yeah.
And Ison concluding as well. So Remo
Sounds like fun.
Remo is joining us in Canada.
You'll have to land directly on the train's caboose.
Why directly on the caboose?
Denatured spice gas is very unstable at lower altitudes. Unless you land on the caboose, you won't have time to get the gas tank.
Power Man is a job ahead, but yeah, Remo would be hard pressed to try and catch up to the advantage. Because I would imagine the playing field between Gandhi and Alapa would be a lot more closer. So if I were Power Man, I would want to try and keep the lead as best as I can, and if I were to be Remo, I would want to try and take the lead and then escalate that lead as best as possible.
Yeah. At least eyeballing it. You know, I think we're set up for a pretty even race. Even with the lead at the moment.
Hmm.
You got a full tank of gas. Time to land on a caboose.
Because both of these teams, like I said at the beginning, they have some pretty heavy hitters on both sides, between Remo and Knuti. And then we also have Gani and Alapo, and then Parma and Ison. Like, there's a lot of very equal skill levels across both sides.
Remo there square boosted off the train. But thankfully was able to catch himself.
Yeah, that was a quick recovery.
As a kid, Spice in the Sky was, I think, definitely my favorite job in Sly 2. I always was sad that there wasn't a job replay function in Sly 2 because of this one job. And
Yeah,
I wish I had been smarter. Wish I'd been smarter as a kid and like known about like making a save file or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, you just don't think of things like that.
Yeah, I was also always a fan of those jobs as a kid where you just run around the map a Sly to do specific objectives. So, Elephant Rampage is another one. I actually liked lightning action as a kid. I don't know if that's a hot take or not, but you know, in the speedrun, lightning action can be awful.
Lightning action can be awful. Lightning action's like one of the best jobs in the game. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people who don't like it, 'cause it's hard. But I love lightning action. For casuals, though, I think the EP4 stuff, like code capture, lightning action, maybe close contest as well.
Yeah, a lot of those shots.
The map layout. The map layout in EP4 is not the most forgiving in terms of getting around.
Yeah, you can very much tell that the map was made with slide mine and not Bentley.
Yeah. And even for Sly, casually, there's... I mean, well, and even for us as well, but we just route them in. There's only so many ways to get into the prison from outside the wall.
Yeah,
So
there's a
if
couple
you don't
of...
know where they are, if you don't know where they are, it can feel confusing.
It's awful. I can't believe it.
Powerman doing the fake floor cutscene skip, friend in need. This one barely saves time. He is in English, so it would save a good amount additional. But it ends up saving a notable amount in the fact that you can easily set up this lure strat that he's doing here.
And he nails it perfectly. I think you can lure Karma a bit further forward, right? It's been
a
a
little
while
bit.
since I've done this.
But on that first one, it's better to be safe, I guess. At least feels that way. That's not an official statement. Friend in need is a scary job. If Carmelita sees you, you will fail the job.
The friend in need is me. This job's scary.
And yeah, I didn't even see it because I was watching Powerman, but Remo making his way through the Spice in the Sky cutscene skip. So that's a chunk of time. Chunk of time for the Sabres that they're getting back.
Yeah, you can already tell it's a lot closer between the two teams right now. just the difference that one cutscene makes is it's rather huge.
And Powerman opting for safety here as well with the Lure 2, which is, you know, pretty difficult. There's definitely a lot of risk in Friend in Need in general. Definitely by far the hardest job in this episode. It's not even close.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you there.
When I was getting ready for my match, a couple weeks ago, I just practiced Friend in Need for like 30 minutes and played each of the other jobs once.
You doing okay in there?
Everything else is like
I know it's tight, but
a
you won't get
snooze
shocked if
fest
you
in this
hold still.
episode, to be honest.
So you spent longer than one episode 6 from practicing one job than you
Won't be
did
long now.
practicing the
Once
rest.
I bust the other members of
Yeah.
your gang, we'll get out of here.
I'm grateful for the jelly beans and all, but aren't you on the outs with Interpol right now?
I remember way back when Remo was gunning for the first sub 5. One of the runs he did was, I wouldn't say flawless, but it was really good up until Friend in Need, where he lost like 2.5 minutes or something. And if it wasn't for that run would have been the sub 5. And I'm pretty sure the run he did after, like the first one after that run, that was the sub 5. I'm pretty sure.
Buddy, you know I'm an expert at pickpocketing.
She's tough, Sly. If you manage to get a key, you'd better run for it.
We're getting word from
the voices
from the host
To me.
that the runners are a little over 4 minutes apart from each other. So still pretty good lead for the Vipers.
That is true, but the gap is shrinking.
Now we'll probably see some smoke bomb strats here from Powerman. So the way this section works is that when you pull one of Carmelita's keys, she's scripted to follow you for a period of 26 seconds. But if you smoke bomb after 21 seconds, she just loses you for whatever reason. There's a number of quirks with smoke bomb in terms of how smoke bomb interacts with not guards, but with like other like boss types of enemies. Like Dimitri also has peculiarities that we abuse for time save. With
I
help
wonder
of
if
the
Remo got spotted early there.
I will.
I think he's good. Carmelita finishes. Yeah, no, he's definitely good. Carmelita finishes the spin.
My pleasure.
I was a bit concerned because I was unsure whether Carm started doing the spin when he got spotted.
In one of my ACES runs, she got her spin interrupted, which I don't think I had seen before, and was really frustrated by. Because I was under the impression that the spin was
fixed.
Yeah, the spin was fixed, and that like once the spin starts, it doesn't really matter what you do, because you know, if she spots you the first frame after the spin, that's fine also.
It's moving awfully fast.
But yeah, she like stopped spinning to try to grief my run, but
That is weird. I've actually never heard of that before. So I was under the impression too that once you start spinning, you're safe.
yeah, Slide 2 is a weird game. There's a lot to learn. It's a very It's a very deep game.
A very nuanced game.
There's so much to learn. So we're always learning.
And that's just how life is in general, not just speedrunning. We're always learning.
True.
Silky smooth right there from Remo.
Yep. And a clean Bentley job for Powerman. Bentley platforming job.
Strange robot organ for us, and one less iron horse train for John.
Uh-oh, Karm is stuck, I think. No, we're good. It's always scary when a car potentially gets stuck on those railway tracks.
Remo there, I think, landed on top of the collision for the bullet because he like contacted it, but it didn't damage him.
Yeah, that was weird.
Almost died to the train there. The train cycle is definitely something you have to keep in your mind. Oh no. And the very greedy square boost gets him killed. That is unfortunate. So I mean, right there, we were just talking about the amount of things to learn, and I think in this case for Remo, it's less about learning them and more just about having them like actively present in your brain. Like we said, Remo hasn't been running Slide 2. But the train cycle lines up in such a way that you have to keep it in your mind around the time of Key 3 that it will be if you haven't seen it yet, like it's gonna be coming, so gotta watch out for it. And then on the water with the floating ice platforms, it's definitely best to just double jump and paraglide on those, because the square boost is just so dangerous.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if Remo was on top of his game and if he actually had, if he was actively playing Slide 2, he probably would have had that more readily in mind, but as you said, he's been focusing more on Slide 4 recently. So it could be that it slipped his mind.
Yeah.
I'm glad we don't have static for this job, because if we have static in aerial assault, that shit can get loud real quick.
Yeah, it's a very, very loud job. The music's really loud, all the sound effects are really loud. There's a lot of sound effects. It's just, it's a little excessive.
I almost wonder if they had the music at a specific volume first, during production, and then they realized with the sound effects, they're like, oh shit, this is actually kind of loud, how should we fix this? And then they fixed it by just ramping up the music volume.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, might be. It's a great song. And the sound effects aren't like unreasonable, it's just the end result is just ends up being loud.
Yeah, they're not that obtrusive, it's just loud. This is also the only time this song plays, right? I think so.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah.
Now it's all up to Sly to finish the job.
Such a shame because it really is a good track. Parma now heading into Bear Cup kidnapping. Like I mentioned earlier, we usually have a cutscene skip for this these days. So we'll
Yep.
see if Parma now does have Berserker Charge, to be expected. So we'll see if he does it. I'm going for it. It's a relatively straightforward cutscene skip, all things considered.
Now, I personally don't like getting spotted there. But yeah, that will work from Power Man. This is a really easy skip.
I'll tear that fence apart.
This is one of the easiest skips we have in the Soy series. Unbelievably, because this Bear Cup kidnapping cutscene skip used to be notorious in the sense that the setup that was there was
Cancerous.
Essentially TAS only. It had been done successfully in a few runs.
I got it once in practice, but never in a run setting, I think.
Yeah, it had been done at least a couple times by at least Hexu. I'm not sure if Remo ever got it in a run, but never in a run that mattered, I guess, for lack of a better word.
Yeah,
I think the videos I had seen were from dead full game runs of Hexus.
Or from like Fish Skip and Sly 1, where it's just a YOLO we ball type of moment.
But with the newer setup, it's insanely easy. It just works.
It just works. Trying to think of if there has been any other cutscene skips that used to be very hard, almost TAS only, which then later got a setup that made them very free. I think some of the Death Fade Out cutscene skips in Sly 3 initially were on the tight side. Beauty and the Beast, I think, was one. Because that one relied initially on you standing on top of a light post in a specific way as Garm shot you down, so you slid ever so slightly forward into the cutscene trigger. But nowadays we use the setup on the corner. And while that one can fail at times, it's still rather consistent if you keep the facing angle the same every time.
Mapiotha mentioned consistent code capture, fake floor cutscene skip. That one, I think, I mean, a big thing is the consistency of it. Finding a consistent setup. I think it also was very difficult back in the day, but that was less a matter of the setup and also, just like the runners have gotten better, over time. Like the things that were, really difficult then aren't the same standards now,
Yeah. Yeah, Tearful Reunion is also a good example of that. It's funny because I know that there's an easy setup for it now, but I still have never done that one myself. I'm still used to the one that's cringe. Put it like that.
Okay, guys, this is it.
every once in a while there's a strat that is either rediscovered or re-examined from the past. You know, something that was found, you know, in 2017, 2018, 2019, and at the time they just went, that's way too fucking hard. But nowadays, it's worth it, and, you know, maybe not that intimidating.
Yeah, things that used to be almost impossible in the past now becoming the standard is time is strange like that. Anyway, Parman is approaching the final job of the episode. And Ramo is fast approaching, actually. I think the gap has probably shrunk down to like almost 2 minutes. Somewhere between 2 and 3 minute difference now.
Strong work, Murray.
Yeah, sure. The Murray's strength knows no limit.
Come on, Sly. Break into that train and steal the Clockwork Stomach. Jean Basson's one strange guy. The Claw Gang divides up the clockwork parts, and he walks away with the stomach and lungs? It still creeps me out. It creeped out later, when we aren't riding an antique handcart at breakneck speed.
You know, the English dialogue gives us a bit of a break, because it's not, we don't develop the awkward pauses as easily, you know?
Yeah, the audience can just listen along, almost.
You know, it blows my mind that, like, when they're talking in Dutch, that you just, like, understand what they're saying. You know? Like I'm American, right? And you know, we learn other languages in school, but they're, like, as a bonus, like a bonus side thing. And it's not like in Europe where, you know, you have your, like, native language and then also learn English with the you know, obviously all the people I know use it a lot, like you, for example.
Yeah,
So,
English is taught in like basically every European school, and then depending on the country, it's either one or two other side adjacent languages, like how Finland has Swedish, or Dutch has in the Netherlands it's also German.
yeah,
So
it's a really
it is funny.
Experience.
But it is also funny sometimes with like the Dutch dialogue of slide 3, right? Because like, not that I'm spacing out, but it's not that I'm always paying full attention to what they're saying. And then sometimes during one of the dialogues, a specific word in Dutch is said, I'm like confused about what that word actually means or translates to, or reminisce about, wow, I haven't heard that word in a while, or just haven't thought about the existence of the word. Like, it's hard to describe, actually.
We're getting word from the host that the difference now is 2 minutes and 10 seconds between the two runners. I think that'll shrink a little bit more. Powerman going the safe route here as well. Yes, he's not comfortable jumping to the wall hook. But Remo definitely has done a good job at narrowing the gap as best as he could.
For sure, yeah.
A little bit of a lower end of a major mistake in Friend in Need, but in a relay race, you know, each team is bound to have some of those.
And that's just what we'll do. A well-placed ball
Yeah, there's bound to be ups and downs for both teams, so it's just a matter of when you're in the down, being able to pick yourself back up again.
And I didn't even think about this until he started doing it, but we got mashing here, which Remo will make up time with. God, it's ridiculous how
Jesus
fast
Christ.
he mashes.
I can only imagine how sore that arm must be.
Powerman fights Mila for the final time here. And then Gandhi will be off to the races. So I do episode 7. GG's Powerman.
팀 바이슨으로부터 배터리를 받기 위해 이쪽으로 오고 있어. 그리고 아르페지오의 클락워크 두뇌를 훔칠 수 있는
That was a
기회를
pretty good
얻으려면
performance from
이
Powerman's
숨어
side,
들어가야만
keeping up
돼.
the lead.
하지만 그렇게 하기 전에 진 바이슨으로부터 클락워크
Avoided
발톱을 떼앗아야
any
해.
possible
시간은 별로
disasters.
없고 할 일은 많아.
맞아. 그런데 이 벌목
서야 돼.
그렇게 하지 뭐.
We're gonna switch the audio over to Remo's side here for this
몸을 숨기는 것을
second mashing fight.
In before insta down.
클락워크의 부품은 다 내 거야.
Yeah.
모두 다 내 거란 말이야.
No, he actually got the best possible pattern here.
So he should be able to mash all the way through here.
Yeah.
This speed.
Clean.
Very, 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 very good.
잘 작동하는 걸 보니까 기분이
I think
좋은데.
for
자, 이제 정찰을
I
나가.
think after
정찰 정보가
that
필요하니까.
left side, she would return to the middle. At that point, she could go down.
저 톱날은 아주 낡아 보이는데.
So depending
이
on how
벌목
quickly
캠프는 꽤 오래된 곳인가
mash
봐.
there, you could end up going down anyway. But Remo is a very, very, very strong masher.
Yeah, there's I think there's 3 different patterns that Neela can do, which is on the top side. The one that just happened, where she goes to the right side first,
거만해서 무선 신호가
then to the
포착되다니.
left, and then back to the middle. There's another one where she goes slightly more towards the middle of the screen, and does like some middle screen attacks before she goes back up to the top.
자연 파괴의 중심지.
And then one where she just stays stationary and does something else. I forgot exactly what the attack pattern is. At least I'm always happy when I see Neela go to the left, because I'm like, ah yes, I can mash to the fullest and still make it safely.
놀라워. 내 센서가 저 보트에서 무선 신호를 탐지했어. 컴퓨터에 의해 조종되는 보트인가 봐. 좋아, 그거면 될 거야. 이제 정.
Now we can assume that Gani has made use of
저기에 돌아가는 것만 봐도
the hour
정말
20
어지럽다.
and gotten some practice in. It seems like he has, because he seems
그런데
pretty
아르페지오가 가지러 오는
pretty
배터리는 어디에 있는
competent at
거지?
the moment, and I can assure you that he is not practiced.
입구는 안에서 잠겨 있어. 팀 바이슨의 사진도 찍어와. 슬라이, 들어봐. 바이슨이 혼자 중얼거리고 있어.
A little confidence in one's skills goes a long way.
넌 할 수 있어.
So if he did spend this past hour and a half practicing, then I would imagine Gani to be pretty confident.
We can only assume Alapo's done the same. You know, I'm actually not sure what games Alapo has been favoring recently. If he's been running anything like outside of ACES.
He
But
do be
pretty-
one mysterious man.
Pretty clean recon from both of them.
Yeah, very clean. Yeah, this is going to be a close match. It's literally going to be anybody's game here.
Ganny will be doing the bear cave bugging first route. This set of jobs can be swapped around in either order, and it actually completely changes the order that you place down the signal whatevers. I don't know. I can't remember what they're signal relays or something.
Yeah, I
bear cave bugging.
forgot the English name too. The radars, no idea.
Radio, because the bears have been tagged with radio tracking devices. I remember about saying that.
Yeah. It's either that or radio transmitters.
So the difference as of now is 54 or 55 seconds, something like that. That's not coming from the host this time. That's my own math. But
Kinda goes to show
Alapo,
just how much Remo's mashing actually saved over Power Man there in the end.
but Alapo is doing laser redirection. The difference between these two jobs, or two job orders, is on paper it's in 5 seconds or less. So it, honestly, I consider it to be more of a comfort thing, because both of the jobs are so technical that comfort and consistency matter a lot. The order Gandy is doing is the optimal one for episode runs, though, whereas the order Alapo is doing is optimal for full game runs, because you end closer to a treasure.
I was gonna say, between all the episode 7 runs and full game runs I've watched over the years, sometimes it's hard to keep track of which order you do for for which one.
Yeah.
And then especially in Bear Cave bugging here, the order which, yeah, because you said it already, the order in which you do the radio transmitters.
You got it, second try. This is a really, really awkward section here on the icicles. I'm not a fan of this route at all. I was pretty happy to try to prove the laser redirection. Doing laser redirection first was still faster for full game. It's the treasure warping integration almost had us switching to the episode route, since returning the treasure didn't matter anymore. And we're going to be in the same job here for a short amount of time. Now both runners in laser redirection. Alapo at the end of laser redirection, while Ganny's at the front end of laser redirection, but Ganny's actually ahead. So, try not to get confused by that.
This is next level way too dank.
저 산업용 레이저는 석화된 통나무를 자르는 데 쓰이는 거라고. 만약에 저 창문 밖으로 쏘아보낼 수 있다면 그 에너지를 이용해서 얼음벽을 녹이고 책을 꺼낼 수 있을 거야.
저걸 어떻게 조준하지?
반대쪽 벽에 스위치가 있을 거야. 스위치를 켠 다음 밖으로 빨리 나가도록.
Very clean clip from Gandhi there.
레이저가 창문 밖으로
Pretty quick.
내보내졌어. 이제 레이저를 얼음벽에 조준하려면 네 주머니에 넣어둔 수정을 이용해야 돼. 알겠지?
알겠어. 레이저가 끝나는 지점으로 가서 수정을 이용 다른 방향으로 레이저를 반사시키라는 거군. 저 책은 이제 우리 것이나 다름없어.
That was a very interesting table clip from Olapo's side there. What the hell was that launch?
Definitely can get some weird outcomes with table clipping. It's one of those exploits we do that feels like it's where the usage of it that we consistently do is kind of like right on the fringe of what's safe, you know? Like we're kind of just pushing up to the edge. Like I wouldn't consider it something where like you worry about losing your run at that moment, but
you very much can.
Point. Yeah.
It's very much like fake floor, actually. Because committing to a fake floor can be run saving or run dying. It's just with a table clip you don't always think about it in such a similar risk.
뭔가 또 다른 게 나오고 있어. 난 이렇게 멋진 동물은 본 적이 없어. 너무나도 생동감 넘치고 너무나도 살아가고 싶어하는. 다시 꽁꽁 얼어버렸네.
기분 풀어. 나무배기 안내 책자를 얻었잖아.
I thought for a second Olapo was about to pick up the treasure.
소문에 따르면 저 오두막 안에서 몇몇 경비원들이 RC 전투 클럽 모임을 갖는다고 하더군.
And after all was said and done and our routes converge again, it seems like Gandhi is still in the lead.
현장 없이는 저 경비원들이 널 전투 클럽에 끼워주지 않을 거야. 저 사슴머리면 될 것 같은데? 문제는 저 위로 올라갈 방법이 없다는 거지. 슬라이가 머리를 훔쳐오는 동안 이 통 안에 숨어 있어.
My favorite job here, RC Combat Club. Just kidding. I hate this job.
나는 그 박태환 사슴머리를 들키지 않게 가져올 수 있다면.
Yeah, no, honestly, I can agree. Outside of the moves being pretty iconic, job sucks. And it mostly boils down to the actual RC combat part.
조심해.
Gaining there using the smoke bomb strat found by Power Man. Cuts out a jump around the flashlight that feels scary, but isn't really that scary. But
I low-key feel like the smoke bomb is more scary than the jump around. That just be personally. But it is cool that it's faster.
Yeah, it's a nice little optimization.
한 가지 팁을 알려준다면 정지했을 때만 포탑으로 조준을 할 수 있다는 거야.
Now the goal in this RC section is you gotta get ammo, and then just shoot the guy from up close and hope that if he attacks that it also damages himself, which is why you want to be close, and that you just get lucky. This job is pretty much completely random.
It's basically don't die while dying the opponent.
I think Ganny's minigame was a little better, but both of them with totally fine minigames.
Yeah, it could have gone way worse for both of them. I also just realized we both had the big truck today, but also the small truck.
That is true.
You still refuse that they actually play tested this minigame. Do you also think they play tested the tanks? Because the tanks surely, for me at least, took a while to get used to as a kid.
Yeah, the big tanks, at least they're like the controls are weird, right? With the big tanks using the analog sticks and everything. But they're like, honestly, like objectively speaking, they're like totally functional. Like they kind of make sense once you get them.
Yeah,
They do make logical sense, and like they do what they need to do, and they
you
work.
do have to wrap your head around it first.
Yeah. But with RC Combat Club, it's just a very flawed minigame.
Yeah, no, totally valid with all the ricocheting that can happen to you in that game. Yeah.
I think if they had just taken out the bouncing, or at least tried to mitigate it somehow, it would have done a lot.
Totally.
잘했어. 물고기를 이용해서 그리즐리 페이스를 다음 기름 파이프 쪽으로 유인하도록 해.
Ganny gets a guard here. Try to avoid that guy with GSM, but even without GSMing, that guard is spawns very infrequently. So unfortunate for him. I was hesitant to say the word unfortunate because it's not luck, like it is directly due to his own actions with GSM, but basically luck.
센서가 그리즐리 페이스의 움직임을 나타내고 있어.
And it's funny now considering he's spotted, because when you're spotted, new guards don't spawn in. So now he actually doesn't have any issues with these next oil wells.
그리즐리 페이스가 네 쪽으로 가고 있어.
Lapo's in an interesting situation here. I guess you can just do that.
Doing a little bit of flexing with the duck there. Neither of the players making the mistake of mashing circle.
Yeah, the circle button does call to you here. It's it's very simple to just not press the circle button,
but it's so tempting.
It is pretty tempting.
오로라를 모으기 위한 매개체 역할을 하고 있어. 등대를 끄지 않으면 사일로
And it
배터리가
definitely is
계속
something that
에너지로
you do
충전될
have to
거야.
like actively think about.
그러면 그 안에 들어갈 수가
Or
없게
it's
돼.
bound to happen.
내가
You
저 안으로
just
들어가서 다 박살낼까? 그건 머레이가 할 일 같은데.
Yeah, sometimes you have to
셋이
be
힘을
sometimes you
합쳐야
have to be
돼.
very mindful to turn your autopilot
정말
off
잠겨져 있기
and switch
때문에
over to
꼭대기에
manual
있는
to make sure a
100층까지
mistake like
올라갈
that
수 있는
doesn't
건
happen.
너뿐이야.
yeah,
안에 들어간 다음에는
definitely.
아래층으로 몰래 내려와서 우릴 들여보내줘. 일을 마무리할 수 있도록 도와줄게.
좋아, 1층에서 보자.
첫 해치에 도달했어.
등대에서 일하는 녀석들 들어라. 나무꾼 게임이 다가오고 있으니 다들 나무배기, 빙벽 등반, 통나무 굴리기 연습을 게을리하지 말고.
This lighthouse descent has always felt very awkward for me, especially with the spotlight cycles.
순식간에 고철로 만들 테니까. 그렇게 간단하지 않아, 머레이. 나는 조정 컴퓨터로 에너지의 흐름을 역전시킬 테니까.
위아래 위아래.
Yeah, this is a highly technical but very quick job.
Oh, Gandhi.
With a lot of weirdness. There's a lot of weirdness you gotta deal with in this job. Unfortunate for Ganny that he was already at low health there.
No, he was, well, he was at low health too, but he got hit by that one last wave of the insta-kills, because he wasn't low HP enough to have died from just that.
Really?
Yeah, because if you looked very closely, you can see him taking 2 instances of shock damage. The normal damage instance and then the insta-kill instance. Like if you look at the HP bar.
Yeah, Mapiotto said he went too fast.
Yeah. Just a smidge.
Feel comfortable saying this because Ganny's my friend, but that is a skill issue. Believe it or not.
For
It
real,
is a
for
skill
real.
issue to go too fast. One should know to not go too fast.
어렵진 않은 것 같은데 내가
That's what I
얼음물
would say
속에
to
600m나
Ganny.
수영하는 부분 빼곤 말이지.
패러글라이더를 쓸 수 있는데 왜 수영을 하냐? 기름 파이프가 모두 파괴된 다음 그 주변은 불바다가 되어버렸어.
Which sometimes sounds a bit ironic saying this as speedrunners, right? Like, going too fast being an issue.
불에 너무 가까워지면 그리즐리 페이스가 저녁 식사로 너구리 바베큐를 먹게 될 거니까.
아주 멋진 상상력 있네 벤틀리.
Oh no, another skill issue from Ganny. He bonks his head. He might die here. Yeah. Oh no!
Mage.
And Alapo and the Sabres pull ahead. With the
I was
jump
about to
off the
say watch
lighthouse.
Ganny go for a Waldermill proxy now, but like after dying here once he can't go for it again. Like honestly, if I was in Ganny's if I was in Ganny's position, I probably would have YOLO'd it. Actually, would I? Nah, probably not. Actually, never mind. Would have been funny to see in the tournament setting though.
Now I didn't see what Alapo did to jump off, but generally, you know, the safest bet is like a slightly extended double jump and then paraglide.
Yeah, that's what
you can
I
also square
generally
boost. You can also square boost, and I assume you can also single jump. But the mistake you just have to avoid is you can't bonk your head on the lighthouse ceiling, or you'll be pushed down too low. Like what happened there. The flames, the visual design of the flames is misleading. It seems like more dangerous than it is. Like they extend further than the death hitbox does. But it's still there, you know, you gotta respect it. So definitely a break for the Sabres here. See if they can take advantage. Now it is worth acknowledging that the lead is not significant at all, neck and neck, so. So entering boat hack and then the operation to follow. This is shaping up to be a good one.
모래의 정보를 믿을 수 있다면 저 사일로 안에 배터리가 숨겨져 있을 거야.
우선 배터리의 오로라 에너지를 방전시켜야만 돼. 보트의 갈고리를 사일로 위에 부착하면 배터리의 전원을 방전시킬 수 있을 거라고.
모레이가 널 보트 위로 던질 준비가 다 됐어.
배 위에 올라가면 항해 시스템을 해킹해서 갈고리를 발사하기 좋은 위치로 배를 이동시킬게.
좋아. 나는 사일로 위로 올라가서 갈고리를 부착할게. 근데 배터리를 방전시키려면 갈고리가 몇 개나 필요하지?
3개면 될 거야. 첫 번째 라인이 부착되면 머레이와 나는
I
다른
love how
배를
Murray
훔치도록
is
할게.
standing there with his
넌 계속
hands
그
out,
위치에
ready to
있어.
catch
네가
Bentley
나한테 무슨 일이 떨어지는군.
Yeah, he's like ready.
when Bentley's in the cutscene.
보트로 던질 준비가 다 됐어. 내 조주는 정확하니까 걱정 마.
He totally has the ability to chill out, eat a sandwich, but nah, he's just ready to receive the Bentley. Smooth entry there from a
낚시를
lockbow.
멋지게 해킹했군. 보트가 위치로 이동하고 있어. 난 벌써 사일로 위야. 갈고리를 나한테 발사하면 그걸 배터리에 연결시킬게.
Pretty smooth from Gandhi's side too.
갈고리가 장착됐어. 너희들은
Yeah,
들키기 전에
Danny
다른
there,
보트를 훔치도록 해.
it's one of the oldest skips in all of Slide 2. I remember going through some really old runs, and they did a form of that. But it's crazy how much the games have evolved, you know, over time.
Sure has. Between all the new skips and allowing gadgets across now all 3 post-Slide 1 games. It's truly a magnificent sight to behold just how much the strats evolve.
Well, and the allowance of gadgets has come from them being implemented in full game, so it's not even like it is the rule change, but the rule change only the rule change came from optimizations and skips being found
Yeah.
in the first place. So
But for episode runs, they still have made significant changes to just the overall time shaven off
right,
because of gadgets not being allowed initially.
yeah. Nice thing about having hoverpack in this job is that you can just fly to the mammoth here. You know, completely for free.
Yeah, you can completely ignore that one adrenaline burst.
Yeah. I think it would still probably be, might still be faster to do it, but I'm not sure it would really be worth it.
I think
The
it's
risk
still
reward
be-
factor is just so much lower. As long as you're using all your juice for the purpose of saving time, the difference probably comes down to a second or two.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's still very tight between both of the runners right now. I think the biggest difference maker left is probably egg skip.
Yep, egg skip could create a chunk of time in either direction. Egg skip really doesn't save that much. I mean, it's like 15 seconds. But at this point, in this race, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Ganny missing a hook, and he's Okay, you got it on that second one. I thought that second one would miss as well, but see what the gap is here.
Like
Looks
15, 16
15
seconds.
seconds, yeah.
I think we both had the same visual cue there because we both came to the conclusion at the same time.
Now mine is the game. It's like 17.5 seconds difference. Although, you know, we don't know about the stream delay situation, so
That is true.
always a good reminder. In the race channel, the runners will have a more accurate way of determining who finishes first, but and oh no, we have
Uh-oh.
a sound. I guess was that a sound lock? Did he re-enter the game? I think he did re-enter the game because I remember him mashing X. But if Ganny's able to finish the rest of the operation smoothly, I think that's pretty much it.
might
That's
be
a very
GG,
unfortunate
yeah.
time for that to happen.
After the race being as close as it was, the fact that the difference maker might be a console crash it's crazy.
Yeah, I was just thinking what Stevens just said is that Gandy most likely doesn't know that happened. So, so it's kind of a funny mental image to picture Ganny stressing in the same way that.
Oh, and he gets a perfect first try.
Very clean. And here again, we got hoverback utility makes this section not scary at all. And in full game, it's very, very scary. So what happened to Alapo? I didn't actually see it. It could have been either a console crash or a sound lock, which is where the game loads without sound. And then the only way to escape that, you can't play with the game not having sound.
The game crashed on boot up according to ACES.
Okay. That's strange. I've never heard of a game crashing on boot. Have you, Avatar?
Honestly, because you said you probably saw him mashing in the game, that probably means just sound lock on the first menu. Is how I would interpret it.
Definitely hit X in the PlayStation menu to open the game.
Yeah, then it must have been sound lock on in Cairo.
Yeah, that would be my guess as well.
And yeah, Olapo's egg skip was very interesting. I think it was mashing trigger bomb instead of 1-2 swinging it. Which I have never seen that before, so kudos, I guess. It's 1-2 swing, Mapio, not 1-2-3. Actually.
Yeah, no, don't worry, Nave. I know it's the old Nave strat. I mean, I disagreed with it when Nave was doing it. It's definitely not a Beaver-approved strat. Ganny here, log rolling. Very easy section, but definitely when you have to like stare at, and pay a lot of attention to.
It's easy, but it's also easy to fuck up.
Exactly. You asked about my favorite guards. I didn't think of the duck guards at the time, but these guys are also really funny.
Yeah, the ducks are also very iconic.
이 말이 맞아 머레이. 저 녀석들은 사라져야 돼. 좋아. 방금 생각난 건데 만약 내가 심판들을 하나씩 저 동굴로 유인해낸다면 어떨까?
The fact they're wearing safety gear is funny.
Yeah.
멋지군. 심판 3명을 모두
Safety
확보한
first.
다음에는 변장을 하고 대신 심판 역할을 하는 거지. 알람 가젯을 이용해서 심판들을 모두 동굴로 유인할 수 있다고?
계획이야 슬라이. 하지만 서둘러야 돼. 제인 바이슨이 통나무 굴리기
They're also some of the tankiest rooftop guards in these games. Because they take 3 punches from Murray to kill and 5 to 6 from Sly. When the regular rooftop guard usually takes 2 from Murray and 4 from Sly.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess the idea was that, like, maybe the idea was that the late game guards would be like that, and maybe they pivoted with EP8 ones because their difficulty comes through in other ways. Maybe they thought it was unnecessary or excessive with the EP8 guards.
Yeah, because the environment of EP8 itself is very treacherous.
Yeah. But there's definitely, you know, difficulty scaling, you know, as we get later.
It's probably why the guards in Prague aren't power scaled in comparison to like India and Paris, because the environment there is also kind of deadly. So maybe they just made the ducks more deadly to balance out for the fact that Canada is less treacherous as a whole.
Yeah.
누구? 여기가 어디지? 어떻게 된 거야?
여긴 제재소 통제실인 것 같아. 바이슨이 우릴 신문하려고 이곳에 가둬둔 것 같은데. 자, 그가 돌아오기 전에 탈출해야 할 것 같지 않니?
여긴 완전히 고립된 곳 같은데. 잠깐만.
뭐?
너 저 구멍으로 들어갈 수 있어?
잘하면 들어갈 수 있을 것 같은데. 밖으로 나가서 너희를 풀어주도록 할게. 만일 문제가 생기면 이 무전기로 호출을 할 테니까 제재소를 조종해서 날 도와줘.
너희들이 그걸 하는 동안 나는 저 철문을 열어보도록 할게. 시간만 충분하다면 열 수 있을지도 몰라.
You know, I actually hear that Gandy got himself through college by, every time his professor tried to give him an F, he would threaten them with the clockwork talons.
여기서 널 볼 수는
And then
없지만
they give him an A.
떨어지는 소리는 들었어.
Just like John Bisson in the Canada games.
이 녀석들 봐라. 난 그 작은 거북이가 그 구멍으로 나올 줄 알고 있었지.
안경을 떨어뜨렸거든요. 안경 가지러 온 거예요.
난 너같이 바보가 아니야. 너희들이 기절해 있을 때 나와.
This is the longest cutscene in Sly 2, at least of the ones that we cannot skip. I think the arpeggio cutscene in Slide 2 Episode 8 is longer, I think, but I'm not 100% sure. But that one is skippable, at least on PS3. Because we can reset the game to skip that one.
정말 더는 못 참겠군. 거북이들이 얼마나 멍청한지 한번 단단히 보여주겠어. 슬라이, 내가 말하면 시작해.
알았어.
준비하시지, 바이슨 양반.
좋아, 덤벼보라고. 박살을 내줄 테니.
내가 당겨야 하는 레버를 불러줘.
But in full game runs, it's actually, you know, it's a nice time for a break. So at this point, you're looking at EP8. Very scary time. Avatar, I haven't heard from you in a while. Are you still with us? Just checking. Not sure if we lost Avatar.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Oh, there you are. There you are.
I muted my mic earlier. Maybe I forgot to unmute it. I think I unmuted it, but just muted and unmuted it again. Now it's fine.
Yeah, and it seems like there's the last hit. Seems like Vipers are in a good spot here. Just gotta run to the end trigger now after the load.
Yeah, not even a sound lock can get in the way because a sound lock doesn't mess up with hitting the final trigger.
And in this is very unique in the sense that even in a full game run, a sound lock here would not require you to replay the job because there's no audio triggers in the rest of the episode after this cutscene.
The only thing is a small console crash during the EP8 reset, but that's a small price to pay.
There it is, GG's
and there we have
Vipers.
We have our 4th semi-finalist, the Venice Vipers. GG's on that win. Came very close to the end, and it's from an excitement level factor. It's kind of a shame we came down to a console crash on the Sabres side, but what can you do? That's life. So now we'll have, I believe we'll have both teams in for the post-game interview.
Yep, we should get both teams here in a moment, and then after the interview, we'll take a look at the bracket. Just waiting on the teams here now. Oh, here they come. Hello and welcome.
Hello.
Hello. Greetings.
GG's.
Thank you.
We'll see if the stragglers are on their way.
The stragglers.
Here they come. We got the spooky Discord sounds for Halloween.
By the way, should this be 4-1 our victory thing? Is this a mistake?
I think so.
Welcome in, everybody. GG's.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations
Yeah, thank
to
you.
the Vipers. We will start with I guess we'll start with the Sabres interview. So Alapo, did you sound lock there? We didn't. We weren't looking at it directly when it happened, but we're assuming you sound locked.
Yeah, I guess I sound locked. My game took like 10 more seconds to load, so I guess that's a good enough indication.
You probably sound locked the main menu, but you didn't hear that it sound locked, so it just hard locked instead.
Yeah, indeed.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's kind of what I hypothesized as well.
Unlucky. Unfortunate, but I think it would have not been still enough. But sad still that it happened in a race like this.
The difference between you two was pretty close come the crash, so anything could still have happened in those final moments.
That is true.
A question for any of the Vipers. We did notice that, or I'm sorry, any of the Sabres. We did notice that this match ended up without any Sly 4, which was a bit of a surprise because of like Remo's recent Sly 4 playing. So So were you guys prepared for that, or did you have to pivot in the moment?
Well, partially, yes, but not in the way that it actually happened in the end. So the main point was to, like, we were just fine without any Sly 4, basically, because that would have meant that Power Man would have to play Sly 2 or Sly 3, where by default he's not as strong as with Sly 4, whereas I can just play any game pretty much on a decent level, or good standard for any game with even a no reset setting without practice. So, I mean, yeah, by that regards, we were just fine with not having Sly 4 there.
We basically thought the same thing. We said we really want to get Remo off of Sly 4, so we said if they picked Sly 2, we'd pick another one and try to make Remo play Sly 2, because we figured, Power Man having to come off Sly 4 and on the 2, and Remo having to net, we thought that was better for us.
Very interesting. Question for Ison. You joined the Select community at the, pretty much the same time that ACES was beginning. And I know you said before that you kind of used it as an excuse, I guess, for lack of a better word, to really get into it and start running. So how do you feel like ACES has gone for you and speedrunning so far in general?
I don't think I could have asked for much of a better start to speedrunning. Like, I've been surrounded by so many people who have wanted to help me improve and I guess set me off to a good start in speedrunning, and I just want to keep going pretty much. It's been a wonderful experience.
Awesome. Avatar, do you have any questions for the Vipers?
I don't actually have any questions in particular, no.
Ganny, how prepared were you, would you say, for
I think you know.
for the Slide 2 today?
I think you know the answer to that. No, I didn't practice. Luckily enough, I got to go last today, so I had plenty of time to, warm up on the episode. And obviously, I've been playing a good amount of Slide 2 throughout the competition, but this week, I didn't do anything. I thought my run went way better than it should have. I golded Bear Cub and Laser Redirection.
You mean Old Grizzleface? Or Bear Cave?
No, Bear Cave, sorry. The
So
cave
many
was
bears.
not that great, but the outside was pretty good. But yeah, I mean, I kept checking in with the stream, and at the end, going into the operation is neck and neck, and I was unbelievably stressed out. And then I got egg skip first try, and I was pogging off, and then I open the stream and I see that Alapo is way behind, and I'm like, oh no, what could possibly have happened? And then I read the chat and I'm like, that is terrible. That's, I'm happy to win, but it's not the way I want it to happen.
For sure. Question for Knuti. We noticed that your Lemon Rage cutscene skip was a little peculiar in how you just launched Murray's nose into the drill. So
it was sketchy AF. I'm so happy it worked out. I held D-pad up a little bit too long, but luckily it worked out. It was just fine. A pretty fast setup.
Yeah, it worked out.
There was some luck
I
there.
guess. And then Power Man, how did you feel about your run? I know that you said in the chat that you PB'd, but did you feel pretty good?
Yeah, it felt kinda okay, even though I also haven't really been playing, because I have been on big Splatoon 2 running lately, and I only practiced live 4 on the week, but we're like, yeah, let's do slide 2, 2.6 is fine, and it was alright run, and yeah, little 20 second PvP, and yeah, it was kinda scary, because I know Remo was getting closer and closer, like, oh, this is gonna be so close, but I managed to keep the lead at the end, so it's cool. And we got the win overall, so epic.
You did a pretty good job at keeping the lead throughout, Powerman, so good job.
Yeah, for sure.
Do we want to reveal the secret Saber strat that we were planning?
I mean,
guess
doesn't
it
really
doesn't
matter
matter.
at this point.
Yeah, true. So we had me practice 4-1 in secret to get Knuti off of slide 3.
Oh.
Wow.
And we were very shocked when that got banned. At this point, 4-1 is the speedrun I have practiced the most out of any speedrun ever. I put so much time into it. So I was very rusty on slide 3.
Wow,
That's
yeah, that
crazy.
definitely would have been interesting to see. Well, GG's to both of you teams. Thank you for chatting with us. It was a fun match.
GG's.
Yeah,
GG's everyone. Thank you.
See you in the semi-finals.
See ya.
Best of
See you
luck.
guys.
See ya.
GG's.
All right, now
for
that all the
Halloween
spooky sounds are over, everybody. Everything's fine. All right, we're gonna take a look at the bracket now. Now the bracket is not entirely updated because the way the semifinal matches will work for the ACES competition is that the higher seed, which in this case is the Outback, they will get a choice of the quarterfinal winners. So they will choose their opponent between the Buccaneers and the Vipers. And then between the Buccaneers and the Vipers, whichever team is not chosen will be facing the Jackalopes in the lower match of the semifinals. So in the coming days, the Outback will have to make their decision. And then we'll be able to move on to the semifinals.
Looking forward to seeing who you guys are going to pick. Whoever it
Yeah,
is,
me
it's
too.
going to be a hell of an exhilarating match.
Yeah, there's some good teams left over. I think the tournament is the format has definitely worked. I think the matches have been very competitive, and we've ended up with some good teams toward the end here now.
For sure, for sure.
Unfortunate, obviously, today that we had a sound lock affect the outcome, but it was definitely still a very exciting match leading up to that. So that's it for us today for this quarterfinal match and the quarterfinal round in general. Thank you guys for viewing. Thank you guys for chatting. Thanks for the subs as well. Buy our merch. Like I said earlier, we don't see any of that money, but it goes to supporting the Slygoals.com website.
We hope.
And we hope, at least. I guess legally, I should say, I don't actually know where it goes. But
I'm sure the Sly Gold's legal team knows exactly where the money is going.
But yeah, thank you guys. It's been really fun.
And we will see you during the semi-finals. Take care.
second